Good morning. Welcome to the Mesa City Council study session for October 2nd, 2025. Most of our council are present. The mayor is at a conference and unable to attend, so he is excused for this meeting today. All other council members are present. Item number 1 on the agenda today is to review and discuss items on the agenda for October 6, 2025 regular council meeting. So council members, if you want to go over that and see if there's anything. And while you do that, I see we have 3E as a recommendation from denial on a liquor license.
Yeah, Vice Mayor and Council, why don't we have Leanne come up? There's been some procedural changes at the state that may lead you to see more recommendations for denial, but Leanne can talk through that and tell you why you may be seeing more of those.
Good morning, Vice Mayor, Council. We do have one for denial. This time we're expecting them to withdraw because the liquor license applicant is a different entity than who is operating here in Mesa with all their other licenses and permits. We're trying to get it cleared up, but they haven't had a chance to yet. And they've told us they were gonna withdraw this. They haven't as of today, so it is still up for denial for this one. In addition, the reason why we're seeing more of initially incomplete information, possible denials when it's initial on your, the agendas is because the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control, which is known as the DLLC, in the past has allowed us to request up to a 6-month extension on allowing the applicant to get us the information that we require. Currently, it provides a 60 days only, and they're holding us to the 60 days.
Okay, does that change anything from a council's perspective, other than we're going to probably see more denial?
Yeah, and more that might start as a denial and flip, and if they get it into us by the day of council.
Once they fix it.
Yeah, so you'll just see more inconsistency on that.
I thought I saw an earlier version of our agenda where 3G was a denial too. Did that work through its process, or is that a previous?
That could very well be the case,
Yes.
especially when we do get you the agendas so early. Sometimes you'll see, when it's 10 days before the actual meeting, Leanne and her office will.
Which I very much appreciate, by the way.
I know you do. So that is one of the things though that presents a bit of a challenge, because you see a lot of movement in those items over that 10-day period or so.
Yeah, but however, 3G is good to go. They have provided us everything.
And that's what I would expect for most of these, if they're missing the paperwork, don't check all the boxes, they're going to get a recommendation denial that they can fix.
Yes.
As they go through. It was just odd because Walmart failing to get their boxes checked in time is a little odd. That's why
They had an outstanding bill with us.
Clearly they have gotten it together
Yes.
already.
They were just a little late. So, yeah, and we do make constant connection with these applicants to encourage them in what they need to do from all the different departments, so.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's good to know. Clearly it won't change it from our perspective, and sounds like we'll just be able to get those fixed before they get to the state board.
Yes.
Any items? Yes, ma'am.
I just have some pretty simple, quick questions, but that I wasn't able to call and talk to the right person yesterday. But on 4C, so I don't know who's here from Arts and Culture. I was just wondering, this is probably just more of a matter of I don't know how things work, but I feel like the shows that come to the Mesa Arts Center would do this kind of stuff. So I just am kind of trying to figure out what the contracts look like, or what that looks like when things like makeup and hair, I would just think that all the shows would do that themselves. So can you just kind of explain how that works?
Yeah, good morning. This is Amelia Liskey, the acting director of the Department of Arts and Culture, and with me here is Robbie Elliott from Mesa Arts Center, in charge of theater operations.
Vice Mayor and Council, it sort of depends, really. Some of the shows we provide the labor for, some of them they provide the labor for. Tours, they usually travel with 10-ish people, and then we have to supplement labor. So that's where we see, we don't really know what our crew calls are going to be.
Do they pay for those services to be done
Yes.
then?
Yes.
So you're getting money to pay for the services, but then they're paying us
Yeah,
for
we're sort
to
of a
use
pass-through.
those.
We
Okay.
actually make a little bit of revenue off of this labor contract.
Okay, I guess I wanted to understand that because it seemed weird that we would be paying for their productions or whatever, so that makes sense.
So if
Okay.
the show doesn't happen, we don't spend the money on the labor.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Right, so this is just the authority to go out, spend the money, but we recover those costs through our arrangement
Yeah,
with the tour,
correct.
with the
Okay.
show.
Does it say that any, I've looked through the materials, like, that just wasn't clear to me. I don't know if, maybe I should just know that already, but I didn't, that wasn't clear in these.
We'll look at that, thanks for.
Okay,
highlighting that.
that was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
My next question is, just curious on 5B with the micro shelters. Are these the micro shelters we have talked about in the past? We've seen pictures of them, or is this something different?
No, yes, our Vice Mayor, Councilmember Spilsbury. This is the micro shelter. There's an example of one. The only one that's out there right now is out here at Center and First that was put in as part of this construction project.
Okay.
So what happened was in the fiscal year 23 budget, we got funding to build some additional micro shelters out there. We, in the meantime, our congressional delegation put in some additional funding for us into the fiscal 23 federal budget. We've just gone through the process with FTA now to be able to spend that money. So this is just a pass-through agreement with the city of Phoenix so that we can move forward with that.
And so this is the only one we currently
Currently
have
have-
done.
yes.
But is it, I'm remembering a presentation we had. Was it about these?
Yes.
Did you showed us this
Yes, so
idea,
also
right?
in a previous budget year, we did two different things. We had a shade study of all of our bus stops to see what the shade coverage was. And then we also had a project where we designed these micro shelters, and they're designed in such a way that they're modular. So as a ridership grows, we can expand that footprint. Our challenge right now with being able to add shelters is we have right-of-way challenges because we don't have the space for a full-size shelter. So this will allow us to add some kind of shading structure at stops that don't have right-of-way. Maybe they have a wall right behind it that prohibits that.
Are there still some places that there's just not even room to put a micro shelter?
There are some places like that, and we've been very strategic on how we look at putting this. So with the shade study, identified places where we have trees, which are a good option for that. So we're doing our best to find out, like a shelter might not be the best option for a lot of places. So where we can, we're supplementing trees. We're looking at, do we get shade from an adjacent building that covers that? So we're trying to provide some kind of shade covering at most of our bus stops.
Okay, and do you have, it says 40 to 50 of these micro shelters. Do we have a map somewhere that we could see?
Sure,
where those?
we can get a map for where we're looking at that.
Okay, and so the goal is to try to get some sort of shade at all of our bus stops if we can.
Yes, and by doing this, because we don't know exactly how many we're going to get with pricing right now, we estimate we should have slightly over 80% of our shelters should have some kind of, or of our stops should have some kind of shade structure, shade covering in some way.
Great.
Yeah, and that's Vice Mayor and Council, that's a lot of progress that transit has made over the years to get up to that 80%. So we're moving in the right direction, and this has taken a while, but that's, the good thing is 80% now of this is paid for by the feds instead of locally. So, so even though it has taken us longer than we would have liked, the fact that we were able to get a federal earmark on this to pay for this portion allows more funding from the federal government to pay for it.
Okay, great, thank you.
Councilmember Duff?
No, Julie did a
I
really
have-
good job in discussing that.
I have one more question, so I don't know if you have
No.
something else for her.
You
Okay.
covered a lot of
Something
my
else.
questions.
Yeah, just another thing. Okay, I didn't know if,
Okay.
one more question I have, Eric, sorry. So 6A, I don't know why I'm saying sorry, this is your job, right? Sorry. Okay, so on 6A, I was driving down Extension a couple days ago, and so I just was curious. I know this is about the speed limit, There's just, it feels like there's maybe some different things going on in Extension. So the project that we just approved recently with the bike lanes, is that what's currently being done on Extension?
Vice
And is
Mayor-
that the reason for the speed limit change?
Sure. Vice Mayor, Councilmember Summers, let me answer that last question first. Yes.
Okay.
There is a lot going on in Extension, and when we came in the spring to discuss the bike lane project, we were tying it on the back end. We have a major maintenance project out there right now. So crews have been out on Extension for a few months now, working on the concrete to upgrade all the ramps and curbs that were broken. They're starting next week on paving, and we're doing the whole section between Baseline all the way up to University is getting a mill and overlay.
Okay.
And after all that is done and we have this brand new clean surface, the crews will out there then to be doing the striping and delineators for the bike lane project. As part of the bike lane project, and we have one section of our project between Baseline and Southern that was at 40 miles an hour. Since we're reducing the northbound direction to one lane, we also felt it was appropriate to then have a speed limit of 35 miles an hour on that section of road.
Okay, so what's being done right now is just that mill and overlay, getting the street done.
Correct.
But it will then be restriped for the bike lanes and all that.
Correct.
Okay, so there's no tearing up the street that has to be done with that project that we approved in the spring.
No, Councilmember, I think that's the beauty of tying it onto a maintenance project is we don't have to do any other work because we have a clean surface to do all the restriping that we need to do.
Did we make a decision on the delineators? Do we
We
know
did.
what we're putting in?
Yes.
Can you tell me?
Oh, it was a yes/no question, right? No.
I want to know the color, the size, how far apart they are.
So the delineators are going to be similar to they're the same delineators we have on First Avenue. They'll be white instead of green, and the spacing, I believe we're doing it at a 25 to 30 foot spacing.
Okay.
And then there'll be, obviously where there are driveways or other openings, they'll be spaced back from there.
And the delineators are between where and where is,
So the bike lane project, and there'll be a buffered bike lane between Baseline and Broadway.
okay.
And then up to Main Street, we'll have a smaller buffer. And then north of Main Street, it'll be how it is today.
Okay. All right, that's all for me. Thank you.
Very good. Council, any other questions on the agenda for Monday? No. All right. And then we'll have an executive session on one of those items and further discussion on Monday, I see. Correct? Yeah.
That's right, Vice Mayor. Yeah, we have our early start time on Monday, so we can dedicate some time to items 9A and B on Monday.
Very good. Seeing nothing else, we'll move on to item 2A, a presentation on the sale of 3 city-owned residential properties in the Washington Escobedo Heritage Neighborhood and a proposed revitalization program in partnership with Habitat for Humanity. Feels like a run-on sentence.
We have an entourage for you today, Vice Mayor.
Good morning. Yes. Go.
All right. Vice Mayor, Council, we're really excited to be with you today. My name is Jeff Robbins. I am the redevelopment administrator for the city. Joining with me today is the CEO of Habitat for Humanity Central Arizona and his team, who will be coming up to discuss this project with us, and Cynthia Escura, our community engagement administrator. When we began the redevelopment program a year ago, one of the first exercises we undertook was to look at all the city-owned property through a redevelopment lens to see if we had any redevelopment potential with what we already controlled. And 3 of the properties that we analyzed were within the Washington Escobedo neighborhood. So today we are here to present a proposal to develop these properties into owner-occupied housing. Let me bring up my slide deck, that may help. Excuse me. There we go. Right. So Washington Escobedo is located along University Drive between Center Street and Mesa Drive. We'll be discussing primarily the western half of this neighborhood, which is where you see the single-family detached homes. Back in the mid-1980s and 1990s, the city led a revitalization effort in this area, and the city purchased 54 parcels. And the intent of the purchase was expressly for single-family homes. Through that effort, because the city is not a developer, we partnered with developers such as Habitat for Humanity. And if you drive through that neighborhood today, many of the homes that you would see were constructed as part of that partnership between the city and Habitat for Humanity. As we were analyzing and thinking of the highest and best use for these properties, that history and the historic partnership between Habitat was a major reason for why we engaged Habitat to see if they wanted to essentially finish the project that we had both begun together 40 years ago. This is also the Washington Escobedo neighborhood is the first designated heritage neighborhood. So this is a neighborhood that doesn't have historic buildings anymore, but it does have a unique history that we want to recognize. And it also has a unique infill district overlay. And the intent of that and why council approved it in 2019 was to ensure that we are protecting the character of the neighborhood and any new developments that come into the neighborhood. So on your screen, these are the three properties that we are discussing. One of them is just west, on the west side of North Serine. There's a property on the southeast corner of East 5th Place and North Serine, and then a third property on the northeast corner of North Lewis and East 5th Street. These are fairly narrow, small parcels. We suspect that part of the reason they were never developed as part of the initial 54 parcel purchase is because they were so thin. And back then, they may not have the capacity to build a building thin enough to make it work. But we've progressed in 40 years, and now it's possible to build quality housing on a property of these size. These are vacant, and they do attract nuisances. We've heard this from the community that sometimes there's illegal dumping, and that dumping then, when the wind picks up, it blows trash to the neighborhood and becomes a real nuisance. So this is one of the reasons why the community has been supportive of this initiative, and Cynthia will dive into more of the details later in this presentation.
Yes, Councilmember Spilsbury.
Can you remind me, I know when you met with us about this, you went over this, but who owns the north and south sides of that lot one?
They are two private property owners, different owners, and we have tried to reach out to them to find out if they would like to assemble to create a larger project. It would be very nice, right, to build all of these out, and we received no response to that inquiry.
We know who they are, like they're still the owners and all that?
As far as the Mayor, Councilmember Spilsbury, as far as the tax records and the Maricopa Recorder's Office and the data tells us yes. As far as we know, those are still the owners to the best of our knowledge.
Because it seems like if the empty lots are causing problems, you're still going to have large empty lots right there. So, but you've tried. Okay.
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Spilsbury, correct. I think that we would love if all of these would develop. Unfortunately, we can only control at this point what we have, so we're doing what we can now, and we're going to continue to try to work with private property owners to figure out if there's other ways to drive investment to these other vacant parcels. Yes.
Excellent. Yes, sir.
Property taxes are being paid currently, or are they in arrears, or do we know that?
Mayor, Councilmember, or Vice Mayor, Councilmember Adams, I don't know that for sure. I can look into that and get back with you.
Because that may answer the question whether you have an engaged owner or someone that's left the state or no longer interested in the property. If you got several years of unpaid property taxes, that might be an indication as to why there's no level of interest. Just a suggestion. Might be worth looking into.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I was thinking about that too. Any other questions? Any other slides? There's a slide?
Yes, Vice Mayor, we do. We have those in spades.
Wishful thinking?
So Vice Mayor Council, this project is essentially about home ownership. That's why we're doing it. We're taking a two-pronged approach. We've discussed the first prong, which is constructing new housing on the city-owned properties in this neighborhood. But the second prong also involves how do we help existing homeowners to stay in their homes so that we can stabilize the neighborhood and continue to have quality home ownership. So to discuss what is being proposed on the city properties and the plan for existing homeowners, I'm going to turn it over to Todd Rogers and his team. They will be stepping up to address different parts of this project. So Todd.
Vice Mayor, Council, it's a delight to be with all of you this morning, and I just wanted to give you just a bit of background and then introduce two of my team members, and we will do our very best to respect all of your time. Central Arizona Habitat for Humanity has been in the Valley for about 40 years, and I've been with Habitat for 18 of those 40 years. And during that time, we have built 1,243 homes and done about 4,600 between those last two categories of home repairs, serving 5,800 families in total throughout the Valley. During that time, 44 homes have been built in the city of Mesa, 14 of which were in the Washington Escobedo community. And we've also partnered with the city of Mesa to serve 18 families through the Love Your Neighborhood campaign of 2018. Our project proposal is 3 to 6 single-family units, owner-occupied, that depending on how much we can fit on the properties there, and partnering with the neighborhood as well as the city on the setbacks and the easements, as well as any type of site preparation, whatever we can do to figure out the best way to maximize those lots. But we build high quality infill, and one of the reasons that we are so focused on the high quality is we're transitioning to a new product called lasting affordability, so that we solve the issue where these homes get built on affordable homes and then they sell, and after they sell, now they're at market value and they're no longer affordable. So this is called lasting affordability, and Habitat would guarantee to buy back these homes every single time the families wish to sell them. And that way we can put another family seeking attainable housing, and they can move into those homes. And because of that, that means that we're interested in long-term durability, minimal maintenance, high-quality products. We follow green building standards with Energy Star and LEED, and we prioritize families that are, well, virtually all the families we serve are between 30 and 80% of area median income. And if you need any data on that, we have some. But to keep things moving, I would like to introduce Deborah Bradley, who's our Chief Operating Officer. She's been with the organization just a mere 31 years, so she's pretty new.
Todd, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk to you about Habitat for Humanity and the wonderful things that we do in the community. So I am going to talk about lasting affordability and why we are moving towards that and kind of our journey to get here this morning. This is a term many of you may know as resale restricted home ownership. The bottom line is that it is home ownership. It's attainable, it's affordable, and it shall remain that way into the future, many years to come. So we do this in a couple ways in the homes that we sell in the beginning, that we build with Habitat for Humanity, utilizing volunteers for many of the components. We then sell to a home buyer who the payment will not exceed an affordable amount of their yearly income. And then that buyer knows and understands that they're buying the house at a below market value, and that in turn for that, when they decide to sell down the road, they will sell it back to Habitat for Humanity for a restricted amount of money. And then Habitat will turn around and renovate that home and refurbish that home if needed, and put in or look for another qualified buyer for that home, so it will remain affordable home ownership into the future and not go to the open market and to investors or become a rental. And so this is done through a ground lease mechanism. So the lease is retained by Habitat for Humanity, and there is a 99 renewable ground lease placed on the land. The buyers will build equity over time, and there is a very specific amount of 1.5% simple interest of equity over the years. And then the homes will continue, as I already mentioned, remain affordable throughout the life of that home. And the equity that they build is not only the 1.5%, but Habitat for Humanity is known for their 0% interest mortgages. And so that also helps to build that equity faster within the home ownership. So basically, here's a graphic design of that, which is lower price initially, lower price at resale when they decide to sell and move on, should they decide to do that. And that just continues to happen again and again.
One question before we go forward. Mr. Roger Todd had mentioned, did you say 30 to 50% AMI? Where's the target?
30 to 80%, up to
30 to
80%
80% AMI
Yes,
is the target.
Yes, Councilmember.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So there's a number of reasons why we're doing this. There have been many Habitat for Humanities who've done this across the country, mostly in areas that maybe would make more sense to you. Thinking about New York City, areas like Portland, Oregon, San Francisco have moved to this model many years ago. We have been focusing on this for over 2 years now, working with the data and working with other habitats across the country to make sure that we come up with a mortgage structure that makes sense for our homeowners here in our demographic, in our region of the country, and also makes sense for the affiliate and our Habitat affiliate, Central Arizona. So it does protect the donor long-term investment. Once you make an investment in an affordable home with Habitat for Humanity here in this valley, then that will remain. Your donation will continue to move forward and serve families going for many, many years to come. It breaks the cycle. It helps not break the cycle. It helps create affordable home ownership for many generations to come, not just one family, one home, one affordable home. And then there still is equity building and wealth building through the ownership of the home because of the low interest, 0 interest, and the 1.5% appreciation. And with that, are there any questions for me on lasting affordability? Yes.
Yes.
So I'm just curious, so how do you value the home when you sell it again? I mean, it's not market value. I'm just curious.
It is not market value, which is a big change for us because we've always sold our homes at market value. So Mayor, I'm sorry, Councilman, we don't do this every day.
No worries.
It's really the 32nd year where you start to get
Is
into
that
these
it? Nobody told me that.
it's coming. It's right around
Nobody
the
told
corner.
me that. And please forgive me for the dry mouth and the rest of this. So you're a council member, Goforth. Thank you for the question. Can you repeat it?
Oh,
Please?
maybe. Just kidding. I'm wondering how you value the homes when you go to resell. Since it's not market value.
It is not market value, right? So for that, we have it is all based on the family size and the affordability of that family. So with the first family, based on the house, the number of bedrooms, which is also based on the number in the family and the area median income, it's a very detailed calculation that homeowner will purchase that home that is affordable to them. And then the next home buyer, there is the resale buyback formula already exists, and so we already know the next amount to the next buyer, depending on the number of people in their family.
Okay, so there's a formula.
It's all formula based. It is not market value based.
Okay, and that 1.5% equity that they're earning, does it matter I imagine, does it matter how long they're in the house? Does it build over time? What if they move out 2 years?
It builds over time, so it's 1.5% simple interest, and it builds over time to the payoff of the mortgage. And homeowners is welcome. Should they need to sell if they outgrow that home, like life happens. So maybe a job change or different reasons for other family commitments, they need to move on. They can sell that home within any time that they live in that home.
Do they commit to any amount of time when they purchase the home?
Yes, thank you. Councilmember Spilsbury.
Yes.
Yes, they commit to 400 hours of sweat equity, where they will build their home or their own, neighbors' homes. There's other opportunities for sweat equity. Should their home already be, they'd be the repurchaser of this home in our restores on other Habitat homes and other projects. So 400 hours of sweat equity. They also have to qualify because there is a mortgage to be repaid. And then they have to demonstrate the need for affordable housing. So they're either living in overcrowded conditions, other places falling apart, or they're paying more than 30% of their income on rent.
Do they have to stay there for a year or 2 years or anything like that?
They really don't, there's, Councilmember.
You're
Sorry,
fine.
there's no, thank you. There is no limit of how long they need to stay in the home. However, if there's other down payment assistance type funds or anything like that on the home, if there's grant requirements, they would have to comply with those requirements.
Individual requirements. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so next is Maribel Salcedo, and she will be talking about our home repair program. Thank you so much.
Hi, good morning, Council, Vice Mayor and Council. Sorry, again, Deborah alluded to, we don't do this every day, but I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about the home repair aspect of this partnership. So Habitat operates it's called Neighborhood Revitalization. And through that program, what we do is we serve existing homeowners. And what we do for them is we provide affordable repairs, typically focused on health and safety. So in this specific area, it has been deemed by the census tract low to moderate. So that would mean that the individuals or the homeowners living in the area would automatically qualify for the services that we provide. So they would just basically need to contact Habitat, let us know what the repairs what repairs are needed. We would go out and assess the repairs, and then we would enter into a contract to do the repairs for them. In this particular area, depending on the model that we adopt, there could be a small financial responsibility from the homeowner themselves. But sticking to our hand-up model, they would participate in our sweat equity program, where they would work alongside us to complete the repairs. And so things like roofing, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, paint, it's all to support the neighborhood and to beautify the neighborhood as well.
Very good. Questions on that? Excellent.
All right, thank you so much.
Deal structure.
All right. We will go right into this. Before we get into the numbers, there's a few things we wanted to make sure we brought to your attention. There are no restrictions or other encumbrances on this land, so the council does have the authority to sell it and do what we wish with it. We mentioned earlier that there's an infill development district, and what we've reviewed what they'd like to build here, and it fits within what the overlay supports, so we know it's possible from that angle. And because of the history that we mentioned with Habitat for Humanity from the 1980s and 1990s, we are proposing a direct negotiated sale from council to Habitat for these properties. And also we wanted to look at what the community wants, of course, and they have created their own quality of life plan for Washington Escobedo. And this project fits within some of their key strategies, specifically creating new housing and improving existing housing. So there's three different funding components that make the project possible. The first is the negotiated sale of the 3 parcels. We've negotiated $40,000 per parcel to Habitat for Humanity. And then what the city would do is we would take those funds and we would reinvest them into the neighborhood revitalization program that Mirabel explained. So this would be a cash neutral deal, but it's not necessarily benefit neutral. They would still collect construction sales tax on these buildings and having new residents in the area. There would also be a home funding of $400,000. And we did mention, I want to make this clear, that it could be somewhere between 3 to 6 units. We don't know exactly until we go through the entitlement process of what's going to work. But I want to make it clear that Habitat would not be coming back asking for additional funding beyond the 400 because it's more efficient for them to construct 2 units on a single parcel. They can make it all work, whether it's 3 or 6 with the 400,000. So going down to the Habitat contribution, the purchase price, so there's expense to Habitat of $120,000. They believe it will cost about $1,200,000 to construct the units. And then when we factor in the $400,000, Habitat's investment in Mesa and investment in this neighborhood is estimated to be about $920,000.
Questions on that? Yes, sir. Mr. Adams?
Okay, you have construction costs for 3 to 6. I assume the $1.2 million is for 6, and if there were 3, it would be half, or am I making a false assumption?
I'll bring up Todd to answer that question.
It's kind of a big spread there. It's, half as many or twice as much.
Vice Mayor, Council, and Councilmember Adams, that's a great question. And the 1.2 is actually for the 6 homes. I'm sorry, for the 3 homes. And if we were to build 6, if we were able to do that, we would come up with all the additional funding for that. And so that's just a benefit to us to not have to buy additional land to do that. We were experiencing costs when we were creating this of close to $380,000 to $400,000 when you do land, infrastructure, all-in construction. And so that's where you're getting close to that $400,000. But it might end up being a little bit less. We're hoping that we're able to, with zoning and a potential rezone, to be able to build more. And so anything above that 1.2 million, we would be paying out from Habitat. All would come from Habitat.
So what would the average square footage of one of these dwellings be?
Councilmember Adams, another great question. We would work with the city of Mesa to maximize the density and how much we can put. Our current homes range anywhere from 1,600 square feet down to 1,200, depending on the lot size. So if we're able to get 2, and depending on the setbacks that were required on the narrower lots, it would just depend on what we could get through with the city and the approval part. Does that make sense?
It certainly does. I'm a bit surprised at $400,000 apiece for the size and type of dwelling, but maybe I'm out of touch with cost of construction these days. Thank you.
Well, then you got the land cost on top of it. Might explain the affordability issue of housing if it costs that much to build a small house. Councilmember Spilsbury.
I was just curious, so even the thought of a duplex on that land, it's just so skinny and narrow. So I'm assuming it's not front to back. Is it on top of each other? Like, how are you envisioning a duplex on that thin of a piece of land?
Councilmember Spilsbury, it would depend on which of the 3 lots, because some are
I guess if
adjacent
I
to
looked at the
streets.
map,
And
so then you could
come-
have it side by
yes,
side.
you
I
could
was
come-
just thinking of that one in between those 2 lots.
Right.
I can't envision a duplex, but
That would be
I get it.
Councilmember Spilsbury,
Yeah.
that would be the most challenging. You're absolutely right.
okay. But the other ones are situated where you could have a duplex side by side potentially.
Potentially.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Vice Mayor, Councilmember Spilsbury, I think if I could bring up a map of the area, I'm going to zoom back real quick. There are alleys in this neighborhood. You can see the alley cutting between Lot 1 and Lot 3, and then there's an alley behind Lot 2. So, one thing we don't know until we go through the entitlement process is, can we have an access coming off of the alley? And so we need to go through that process with the planning department and talk through those things, which is why until we go through it, we're saying 3 to 6. We don't know.
So, talking about entitlement, do you really have to go through the process, which is time and money? Would it be possible just to do under current zoning, which I assume is single family, and do attached and detached ADU type situations to add density without having to go through entitlement?
Vice Mayor, Councilmember Duff, and I may lean on Mary to speak on this, but it's entitled for single-family residential. One of the things that we believe to be true from our research is that an SCP would be required to go to 2 stories. That's also a conversation with the neighborhood, and so if we're able to go to 2 stories, we can get more square footage, we can have larger families, but it's a discussion with planning, with the neighborhood, with Habitat, and exploring that to figure if we need that extra special use permit for the extra density.
So an SUP for a second story, I thought on residential, single-family residential, a 2-story wasn't allowed.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome, Jeff. Vice Mayor, Council, Washington Escobedo has an ID2 district over it, so they have their own zoning that's been developed for this area. And in looking at the ID2, the second story looks like it would require the SUP. So that's been written into the ID2. If they meet all of the requirements of setbacks, front, back, they would be able to go right to permits, but we'd have to see what the layouts look like. If they do a two-story and they're looking at ownership, then we've got to look at what that looks like in terms of how that would be platted. So without knowing what these buildings are going to look like, it's hard to say what that process might be.
Explains the cost of construction. Sorry.
Okay, any other questions on the numbers? Community engagement?
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Cynthia. One of the comments that came up frequently as we briefed the council was the importance of understanding what the community thinks about this project, how they feel. And so we reached out to Cynthia, and she led a great engagement effort with the community. And so she'll talk a little bit about what we did to reach out to the maximum number of the community members, make sure that they understood what was happening, and then the feedback we received from them.
Thank you. Good morning, Vice Mayor, council members. Cynthia Scura, Community Engagement Administrator with the Community Services Department. The Community Engagement Division was asked to support this initiative by leading the outreach, sharing best practices based on our knowledge and experience of working with neighborhoods. We have a long-standing relationship with the Washington Escobedo neighborhood, and so we knew that we had to be strategic on the outreach portion. So we immediately contacted the point of contact for the neighborhood to let them know about this Habitat for Humanity initiative, that we were going to have an upcoming meeting, and to help us let the rest of the neighborhood know. The outreach and engagement piece to any project or initiative is very important. It helps connect. We connect with the point of contact, and it helps provide insight of what the project did, and it also helps them be well informed of the project, and they have a clear understanding of the project and a meaningful opportunity to feel heard and to provide any feedback to the project. So, and this was also very important for the Washington Escobedo neighborhood. So some of the outreach efforts that we did was we emailed the residents on the invitation for the August 28th meeting. We helped design the flyers, both in English and Spanish. We distributed the flyers door to door to each of the homes. We sent text reminders about the upcoming meeting, and we coordinated Spanish translation services for the meeting itself. We also helped provide a quick survey at the meeting to engage the residents and to get their support and to find out if they had any comments and to get their feedback on how they felt.
Sounds like you took a page out of Dr. Apaya's dissertation on how to engage the community.
So some of the comments that we got back from the neighborhood was great. I'm glad that Habitat for Humanity is coming back to the neighborhood. I strongly approve this project. Awesomeness, wonderful. So at the meeting, there was about 20 residents, and at the end of the meeting, we had them fill out this 3-question survey. And so there were families there, so some of them filled out the survey together. And the first question was asked, which best describes your support for Habitat's proposal to develop 3 vacant parcels for owner-occupied homes? And as you can see here from the survey, there was an overwhelmingly response to strongly support the project. There was a somewhat support and a neutral there, but we didn't receive any opposition, as you can see from this survey. On the second question, which best describes your support for Habitat's neighborhood revitalization program, which funds repairs for owner-occupied homes? And once again, they strongly supported this. And then the third question was, how would you describe the importance of any new homes remaining financially attainable for home buyers? And this was very important for them, and there was one neutral. But as you can see from these surveys, the neighborhood was strongly in support of this project. It helped to meet with them. They were very appreciative, and the whole meeting and everything was well received.
Councilmember Spilsbury.
So I probably should have asked this when you were up, but do we know yet the needs of the repair program, and if that was like an exciting thing to the neighbors, and if they were already bringing up different things they wanted done?
Councilmember Spilsbury, great question. I think that's one of the things that piqued their interest. This is why they came out to the meeting. They didn't share exactly what they needed, but this was, when hearing from the point of contact, said this was going to be great for overall for the neighbors to hear. And so this is why we felt that we had such a good show of residents at the meeting.
So I know the people who are like getting the work done or who are getting the houses put in the sweat equity. Is it also the opportunity for like the neighborhood to come together to do like a service project for their neighbors? Is that kind of how you guys go about it?
Councilmember Spilsbury, when the time comes, we definitely want to involve the neighborhood, because feeling part of the process is very important to them, especially for Washington Escobedo. So we definitely want them to get involved, and we want the youth in the neighborhood to get involved as well.
Awesome. I know I saw that like maybe there would even be opportunity for City of Mesa employees to go help with projects and stuff too. But I just love the idea of the whole neighborhood working together on neighbors' houses to make it better. So, okay, great.
Yes.
I'm just curious, how many people live in that area? Do you know?
Great question, Councilmember Goforth. There are about, when we did the door-to-door flyers, there are about 150 homes, single-family homes that are there. We also did some outreach to the apartment complexes nearby, because in case any of them wanted in the future to buy or have, the opportunity to purchase a home. So, but we did the outreach to about 150 homes.
And I can't remember, was the door, you went door to door and to give information or to drop off information to let them know about the meeting? Is that
Councilmember Goforth, we went door to door to hand out flyers, both in English and Spanish, to invite them to the meeting.
Okay. Because I know it's hard to get people to come, so I was just kind of wondering if you thought 20 people out of the 150 homes was enough, engagement.
Councilmember Goforth, with our experience of working with Washington Escobedo and helping parks with the former Washington Activity Center, this is about the norm. And so this particular neighborhood likes to take things back to the rest of the neighborhood. And if they feel this is something that they would have interest in particularly, they'll show up. But this is the norm for the neighborhood.
And they do have a board as well. They do have a board representing that brings information in.
Oh, that's good, and they participated?
Yes, they were there as well.
Vice Mayor, Councilmember Goforth, I might jump in as well. There's, I think, questions going to the point of, do we know if there's going to be needs for the revitalization program? One of the analyses we did at the beginning of this project was to go through and evaluate how many homeowners actually are there, and is there enough for Habitat to do work? And if you look at the entire tract, it is about 1/3 ownership. But if you go down to just that piece of the neighborhood, it's actually majority ownership based on the tax records. And so we have had this discussion with Habitat, and we're going to go out, provided we receive direction from council to do so, to do an evaluation. If we are not able to find enough needs in the neighborhood, then we've talked about Habitat about expanding the search area to areas around for other needs until we've exhausted any funds and labor.
So even if it sounds like 2/3 is renters in that area, can you go after the owners? Like, can we reach out to owners and see what owners might need help too, so that the rental properties don't continue to be bad? Or are we not doing that?
Vice Mayor, Council Member Spilsbury, We only work with owner-occupied homes.
Owner-occupied.
So all the repairs will be based on the people who own the homes in the neighborhood.
Okay, it seems like some of the neighborhoods by me, the bad ones are the ones that are renters that the owners aren't taking care of. So then what do we do about those? But, okay, thanks.
Yes, Mr. Adams?
My recollection over the years is that this is a very tightly woven community, much like Lehigh is another example. I'm just curious, did anyone object? Did you receive any negative, or was it all positive reinforcement that you've received in terms of feedback?
Councilmember Adams, the feedback and what I heard directly from the residents was they think this is a good idea. They were in support of it. This is a community that will let you know when they're not, and so this was well received. They had the opportunity to ask a lot of questions. We wanted to make sure that all their questions were answered at the meeting. We gave opportunity, and we communicated via email as well, and they had the opportunity to ask any questions along the way if they had any other questions. So all in all, they're all in support.
Good. I think that's, based on these numbers and what you just described as about 150 homes, that's a pretty good ratio compared to some other community meetings that I've been aware of. So, good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
If I can just jump in on that. In my experience of working with this neighborhood, there's been another project we're working on with a property and what to do with it in a community project. But they're very engaged, like you said, and I think the number one overall concern I've heard from them is watching the development downtown and feeling like they're going to be gentrified, they're going to be priced out, and they're going to be pushed out. They want, some help in fixing homes, especially some seniors. But, these empty lots, they want people who are homeowners in the neighborhood. They want the neighborhood to be able to kind of, be revitalized in the real estate without pushing them out. And this is a way of keeping that community intact by offering that lasting affordability. And I look at all the Escobedo apartments there. There's a lot of them, and there's a lot of people there who are maybe ready to make the next step and are already part of the neighborhood. Thanks.
Next steps, speaking of next steps.
So Vice Mayor, Council, if it is the direction of Council that we move forward with this, we would begin drafting a development agreement to define the terms of our partnership with Habitat for Humanity and also a purchase and sale agreement. We would bring those back to Council. We anticipate early next year for your review. And if you were to take action on those to approve and to make the sale, Habitat would immediately begin. We talked about some of the entitlement work that needs to occur. Habitat would begin on that, and we anticipate that construction would begin as early as late next year into 2027.
All right.
Why does it take so long to get from right now until the real estate and DA, which is a year out?
So from now until early 2026, is that?
Winter 26. The first.
For construction. I'm going to look at Todd. Is there, I don't know if it's necessary. We want to take our time to go through the process and do that well. And Mary may be able. Takes a year. We wanted to give some flexibility as we think things through to make sure we're doing it the right way. But Todd, is that a realistic timeline?
Vice Mayor, Council, those are great questions. We experienced this working with municipalities across the valley, and just any rezoning process, any part of dividing land to try to maximize what we can do and the impact and how to really create more home ownership in the neighborhood. Just the process takes a while. It's not because it takes us longer to build. We have to, it's the engineering, architecture, everything to go through all those steps and make sure that we're in compliance with all the codes of the city and the setbacks.
So that takes a year before you get to the entitlement step. You know, just preparing.
Vice Mayor Jeff, I think on the second box, winter of 26, you're talking about just a few months from now.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I'm saying we can come back early.
So that should be early 2026. So,
I say-
yeah.
December,
Yeah,
I was thinking January, February. Okay. You know, I'm going to start using months from now on, specific months instead of these. My apologies, Council, for the confusion. We're coming back with the DA in a matter of months.
So go back and do it all again.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Robbins, I think you were probably just testing us to see if we were
You passed,
paying
council member.
attention, but, because I was going to say, Todd, welcome to the Mesa way. We don't need a year. A couple quick questions, though. If, I'm assuming, remind me how long we've owned these 3 lots?
We purchased them, I don't have the exact date, but I know that we went through the redevelopment initiative starting in the mid-1980s. I believe they were purchased about 1985, so about 40 years. Yes, Councilman.
So we've had this real estate asset for 40 years. I'm assuming that the development community or other investors or others have not been knocking your door down trying to buy these lots?
I'd have to refer to our real estate office to see if they've had any inquiries. I can say personally I have not, but I've been doing this for about a year.
All right, you know, real estate or anything else is worth what the market determines it's worth. And I would say if we've not been approached time and time again with folks who want to buy these to build something there, then I think that's an important piece here. It's a non-performing asset. So I'd like to know a little bit more about that. Have we had offers? If we've had them, why have we turned them down? I suspect we haven't, but that information would be helpful to me because, you know, again, you can appraise a piece of real estate all day long, but if nobody's willing to offer that, is it really worth it? So I'd like a little more information about that, but to me, it seems like a worthwhile thing for us to pursue, particular to this neighborhood. The neighborhood is interested, they're supportive. I'm glad we cleared up this business from fall of 25 to winter, to early spring of 26. That makes sense. So if you could get me that information, I'd just appreciate that.
Yes.
Councilmember Spilsbury.
I mean, my understanding is that we weren't aware that these existed until you found them. So I guess I'm just wondering if people, my guess is that we could totally sell these for way more money to investors, and we wouldn't have the affordable, what do you call it? The perpetual lasting affordability to it. We wouldn't have the money going back into the community. Like this, to me, this is a decision about what's best for the neighborhood and how the city can help what's best for the neighborhood and not a money thing. If it was just a money thing, I don't think this is probably the best decision. But to me, that's not what this is about.
Vice Mayor, Councilmember, I might tweak that interpretation just a little bit. We keep very meticulous records of all of our property. I mean, we know they're there. I think what may have changed is that with the prioritization of council towards redevelopment, we had a new lens to look at properties with and a new mandate from council. And so we approached it from a different way. I don't think we found them, but it was looking at them and saying, okay, now we have this new priority. What can we do differently? And so with that shift, it gave us kind of a new impetus to reach out and try to make something happen.
And Vice Mayor, I think, and Cynthia alluded to this earlier, I mean, I think we just have always felt we need to be very good stewards of any property in that particular neighborhood. We're sensitive to the ideas of, like you said, you might be able to sell it to a developer for a different price point, but how invested is that developer in the community? And the fears about being priced out, gentrification, other things that could happen in a neighborhood that's got a lot of history in this city. I think there's that sensitivity that comes along with making sure that we have trustworthy partners who care about the community and the long-term success of the community.
Councilmember Duff.
Yeah, and I just want to mention on our balanced housing plan, of course, the lower income, very difficult to find projects to satisfy that need, and that's our biggest area of need is on the lower income. So this really helps us at least take some steps and preserves the neighborhood at the same time.
Very good. I think there'll be more opportunities for folks to weigh in on this sometime in the early spring of 2026. But I think most people are familiar with the work that your organization does and pretty supportive of it. And this certainly meets a need in our community for housing. So I'm looking forward to seeing the details soon. Any further questions or comments from council, staff?
Vice Mayor, I have one more slide, and this is
I know, and I was...
My apologies, Vice Mayor.
No, go ahead.
I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
All right, now that I've preempted the Vice Mayor, we did want to put this out, and I believe Councilmember Spilsbury, you saw this as you're reviewing the deck. We are excited about this, and our why public servants exist is to serve our residents, and we all get a lot of satisfaction out of doing that, but it's a lot more fun when you get to swing a hammer doing it. And so we've worked with Habitat. One of the ways that they fund their projects is by having corporate teams come out and they'll volunteer to do framing or different pieces of a project. And they typically pay a charge to do that to help support the property. And because of the level of partnership that the city would be entering into, they've offered up some of those team build slots to the city. So different departments or professional organizations inside the city could volunteer to build together teams. And
I feel like we're getting set up.
To do work, yes, Vice Mayor.
If you need a big truck, I know a guy.
It's not that big.
No, it's not like the mayor.
I still have a tool belt.
Uh-oh.
Vice Mayor, I think council would make a great team.
I have a feeling this might happen. All right.
But again, this would be not only just working side by side with our colleagues, but also side by side with community members as they put in those 400 hours. And a great way to build relationships in this community and to build it up together. So we're excited about this extra kind of cherry on top of this project. So with that, council, we will conclude and entertain any questions or direction that you have for us.
Okay, any more questions or comments? Seeing none, I would suggest no nail guns, hammers, or ladders for council. Anything floor level is fine. Nothing that stains. All right, thank you so much. Moving on to item 3 is to acknowledge receipt of minutes. Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Spilsbury, second by Mr. Adams. All in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Current events and conferences attended.
We both have a line.
You got it?
It's been well, we didn't have a study session last week, so we've been saving it.
So get comfortable. All right.
No, I don't have too many things, but
Councilmember Spilsbury.
Councilmember Heredia and Duff and I all attended the Peace Pole dedication over at MCC. That was a beautiful event with lots of people coming together to celebrate the International Day of Peace. Yesterday, I attended Coffee with a Cop over in my district at OSG Cafe on Main and Power. I want to thank all of our police officers and residents that attended there. And then I wanted to announce that tonight is Mesa's Domestic Violence Awareness Night. And it will be from 5:30 to 6:30. A domestic violence survivor is the keynote speaker, and there will be information booths providing resources and information. So, and it's at the Post. It's at the Post from 5:30 to 6:30. That's it.
Wow.
Wasn't too bad.
Councilmember Duff.
I'll do a little fill-in. Okay. Last week, I attended the Arizona Refugee Fundraiser Gala at the Bright House. Councilmember Spilsbury was there too, and they do amazing work connecting refugees to resources and jobs. Last week also attended a Local First Arizona Business Community Activation at Empower Coffee that's at Gilbert Road in Hampton. It's a way of bringing together business owners at a business owners thing and talk about, business stuff in a local first way. Empower actually roasts their own coffee beans, and they have an inviting and friendly environment, and they're going to have a coffee tasting event. I've done beer events, I've been wine events, but the other necessity of life is the coffee, so I'll definitely be watching for that. On Saturday, I attended the, Councilmember Goforth was there, the Arizona Natural History Museum Rock the Rock fundraiser. And it had live music, amazing food, and it was a great time. And the museum is just doing more and more incredible work. I invite everybody to go check it out and be part of their future. Then yesterday I attended Coffee with a Cop at Starbucks at Country Club in Southern. Thank you to everyone at Fiesta PD and Central PD, along with a lot of other staff members who are gathering with the community, Commander Troth and Community Action Officer Chacho. They had their apron on and they were serving customers. So it was really cool to see them in service of the community, literally. And then yesterday I attended also the Women Leading Mesa, Harnessing the Strategic Power of Storytelling. And Anna Pereira, I know. She was one of the panelists, as well as Sarah Lipich of the library. Mary Kaprowski Brown, our planning director, she was on there, and Danica Marlin with the Mesa Arts Center and Mabel. So it was really, I enjoy their events. It's really great hearing from some of our own within the city, the things that they're doing in order to empower and inspire each other, as well as elevate Mesa. Thank you.
Councilman?
Excuse me. Last Saturday, along with the museum event, I also participated in a walk for alopecia. One of my constituents, a young man, was diagnosed with alopecia when he was younger, and so he organized the Walk for Alopecia to raise money and awareness for people who are diagnosed with it. So we had a great turnout. We did walk in the rain, which was pretty nice, actually. And then yesterday we had the renaming of Mountain Vista Medical Center. It's been acquired by Honor Health, and it's now Four Peaks Honor Health. So we're excited about that.
Barry. Mr. Adams.
I barely missed Councilmember Duff at the Starbucks Coffee with a Cop yesterday, but my district coordinator, Tanya, and I went down there, and it was great to see the level of community support offered by Starbucks and their people, in addition to our officers there. So, shout out to Starbucks. I think that level of support is great, especially for our police department. And those are great events. And this one was, I thought, well attended. And I did see the new commander at Fiesta in his Starbucks apron. So he was doing a great job. I'm not sure how well he did on tips, but we'll see. But thanks.
Thank you. I attended a few events as well. I want to highlight. One is our Taiwanese 1010. We have a very robust Asian district in this city. But in addition to that, we're seeing a lot of economic growth driven by chip manufacturing, as an example, and Taiwan is a very important part of the jobs being created here. So the cultural connections are increasingly important. Plus, having been to Taiwan on several occasions, I really love going to the events that they have there. On a small one, I had a little different coffee event. I met with a couple, Brandy and Jeremy, over coffee, and I bring this up. They're going to be opening Geo Design Company in my district probably by January. They are truly a garage business. It's a home design company. They are a garage business. They just moved out of that, and they're going to take down some of the space, the commercial space that's in my district. This success story is built in part by the Mesa Business Builder. They are utilizing those resources and will continue to utilize those resources as they ramp up their business. This is a great success story. I hope we can attend that ribbon cutting. They are planning a ribbon cutting probably in January, and tell that story, because this is a lot of investment we put in to help our small businesses. So this is a great way to get that out there. Other than that, I think that's good enough for now. Mr. Butler, what do we have for meetings, fun events coming up?
That's right. Well, Vice Mayor Council will be back here on Monday with an early start time of 4:15 p.m. So we'll have ample opportunity to discuss items 9A and 9B, including an executive session about those. So we'll start early so that we can hopefully get through that and be able to start our council meeting on time. That will immediately follow that. And of course, for those of you, I know you've been notified, but if you're available, we'll be celebrating the life of firefighter Paul Shoup on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. at the Central Christian Church in Gilbert. Paul succumbed earlier this week to a courageous battle with against brain cancer, and so we're going to recognize Paul on Saturday at that event. And then on Monday, I know Chief Kameli will offer a few words during our council meeting on Monday evening. So.
Thank you for mentioning that. I think the mayor will have some comments on that on Monday as well.
Absolutely.
You worked with him. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Councilmember Duff, Councilmember Spilsbury, all in favor, say aye. Aye. I'm sure there's none opposed. Motion carries unanimously.